Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Atma va are drashtavyah shrotavyah nididhyasitavyah. The Atma, the knowledge of the self, is not a matter of doing, because self-knowledge is an antidote to self-ignorance. It is as simple as that. Certain things you have to do, certain things you have to know. Because, if the self were away from you, then you can go about getting it. But it is never away from you. Even its nature as Ananda is never away from you. Yes, it seems elusive because of the eclipse of self-ignorance that we have been talking about. But it is never really away. And so, actions cannot give you this I, which has been described as Satchidananda, aka Asti Bhati Priyam. Actions cannot give that. Why? Because actions can accomplish only 4 kinds of outcomes. Only 4 kinds of actions are there. If you just reduce all the actions, there is only 4 kinds of actions. What are they? Utpadyam. Utpadyam means you bring something out of something, something. You bring something out. And then, you make something. And then what else? What else can you do with an action? You can, vikaryam. You can bring 2 things together and create a 3rd thing. Like milk with a little bit of starter, and then you mix that and you keep it overnight, and next morning you have yogurt. So that is vikarya. Then we have another kind of action which is like a cleaning action called samskaryam. Samskarya. And what is this cleaning action? Like you have something in your house on display, and it happens to be a copper pot, and then it has got, tarnished by the elements. And now, instead of a wonderful, bright, shiny orange, it's a greyish color. And then what do? You take some tamarind or you take some lemon, and then you rub it all around, rub it really hard, and then you get the tarnish out, and here you have a bright shiny copper pot. Samskaryam. Utpadyam or apyam to get, and then samskaryam, utpadyam, vikaryam, samskaryam, and the last one is gamyam, you go something to get. And that I illustrated yesterday with the example of wanting a glass of water. So if I want a glass of water, it is away from me, I have to go get it and then bring it to me. So if you really want to retrieve the self or get the self through action, which of the following actions will you use? That is my question to you. Utpadyam. Are you going to give birth to the self? The self is that which has given birth to this body, mind, sense complex, as though which has given birth to the entire universe in the eyes of in the vision of the Shruti, in the vision of the Upanishads. So obviously, it is, as the self is not something that is going to be born. It's already there. It's already there. And then what? So that one you cross out, gone. Vikaryam. I'll put 2 things together and then arrive at the self. Well, that's a noble enterprise. a noble idea and plan, but there is just a one small glitch. What is that glitch? In the vision of the Shastra, there is only one, non-dually one self. How are you going to get something else to mix with it and to make something out of it? You cannot do that. So, vikaryam is gone. Putting two things together is not possible, but because there is only one thing. And then samskaryam, like the cleaning, like that of the copper pot. Samskaryam. What's going to happen here? So, if maybe the self is not visible because it is what? It needs cleaning. It's ancient, such an ancient self. Maybe it has developed a lot of tarnish and needs to be cleaned. Not a very convenient argument when you consider the fact that nothing can tarnish the self. I told you, the first day itself, self is Teflon. Nothing sticks, nothing tarnishes, no fear, no tears, no sorrows, no guilt, no hurt, no anger, no pain. Nothing. So, the definition of the I is that which does never, ever, ever require cleaning. Shuddha mukta svabhavatvat, because its nature is already free of any kind of impurity, and Shuddha, it is untouched by any affliction. So three of the actions gone. No utpadyam, no samskaryam, no vikaryam. What else is left? Gamyam or apyam. I can go get the self. Wherever you go, that is the self. The goer is the self. That which is all pervasive, without a location, is the self. Without a location, without a form, without a gender, yet no location is outside of the self, no gender is outside of the self, every form is included in the self, but the self is free of all forms and names. This Atma is free of all forms and names. It is one with that what we call the creator of the universe, Ishvara. That is what the Atma is. So you can see, any of the actions you start to deploy, there is, as it were, a stay order. No, this is not possible. This will not apply. Like when you fill out a form, sometimes there are certain choices given, and if none of them apply to you, what do you say? NA, not applicable. Samskaryam, NA. The action called vikaryam, NA. Then the action called utpadyam, NA, not applicable. Action called gamyam or apyam, to be gained, not applicable. Not applicable. Why? Because it's already here. This is not a matter for action. Action is very successful in the realm of the finite. Action cannot give you the infinite, because the infinite happens to be already you, whose nature needs to be discovered. This is what is called sadhya. Sadhya, that which I need to gain. That which is to be accomplished is called sadhya, and the means with which I accomplish something is called sadhana. And there should be a connection between the two, sadhana and sadhya. There should be a connection. If there is no connection, then you will not gain what you want to gain. As simple as that. You will never gain what you want to gain, because there is a asambandha, no connection between the means and the ends. If the end is self-knowledge, the means must be to get rid of self-ignorance. It is very, very simple. Because that knowledge is already you. That wholeness is you. Everything is already you. So Shravanam is the correct sadhana for Atma Jnanam, Yajnavalkya tells Maitreyi. Shravanam means listening to the Shastra. And we have seen adequate reasons why to listen to the Shastra, because otherwise you come in your own way. You come in your own way. So, this way, the correct sadhana is Shravanam. And we have seen many reasons. It is important to point out that the one of the main reasons that comes in the way is this feeling that I want to do it all on my own. But here, the Mundaka Upanishad, in the mantra that we saw, advises us to seek a teacher. What kind of a teacher? Not the teacher who says, I just suddenly had this epiphany and I got all this by myself. If somebody says, I got this whole knowledge by myself, then it's better to tell such a teacher, please keep this knowledge with yourself and enjoy it. Do not give it to me. Because this yourself, getting it all by yourself is not something that is seen as, as wonderful in ancient circles. Even now, we have every few years in India we have a orange festival. It is called Kumbh Mela. A whole city comes up on the river bank. And then all the sadhus, all the monastics come and pitch tents and stay there. Sometimes for a month, sometimes for 40 days. There's a whole festival. They take baths in the river, and then it's all based on certain astrological connotations. Jupiter must be in the constellation of Leo or aspected by the constellation of Leo. So depending on that position, we have either Purna Kumbh Mela, a full-fledged Kumbh Mela, or a half Kumbh Mela. Kumbh Mela is, I am translating it as Orange Festival. Okay. And so, you take baths, you meditate. How long can you meditate? So the rest of the time you socialize with other orange folk. So you go and visit. Usually the junior Swamis will go pay homage to senior Swamis, either from their own or other lineages. It doesn't matter. So when you go to somebody's tent to pay your respects, they'll be very nice. They'll ask you to come in, have a seat, and give you presents, give you things to eat and drink. But then, by way of introduction, they will ask you one question and one question alone. Aapka guru sthan kahan hai? What is your lineage? What is your lineage? That is what they will ask. And if you go there and say, I got all this knowledge by myself, I don't need no teacher, no preacher, I'm fine, I got it all by myself. I slept ignorant and I woke up knowledgeable. It all came to me. If they say, they will just look at each other and you will not have any visitors to your tent. They will not be impolite, but they will keep you at bay. What is this called? In Hindi, it is called apne aap knowledge. Do it yourself knowledge is not something that is revered. Because it is, the guru is the one who was a student before. The guru is the one who had gone through the difficulties that everybody in samsara goes through, in the jagat goes through. And the guru has come out of it. And that is the person who can teach. And that is why there are qualifications for the teacher as well. In that same mantra I quoted yesterday, Guru meva abhigachet. Please resort to the Guru only for this knowledge. And what kind of a Guru? It says, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. Shrotriya means the one who comes from a very sound lineage that does not distort the essence of the Upanishad. Does not, distort the sentence. For example, there are many places where one can go wrong. Tat satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. So Atma, long A, and then Tattvamasi. There is some Acharya who has translated it as, who has interpreted it as Sa Atma Atattvam Asi. You are not that cause. That is put along with Tat. Sa Atma Atattvam Asi. You are not that. You are not the whole. That I already knew. Why will I need an Acharya to tell me I am limited, I am finite, I am an idiot? This already is one's capital. Even before going to the teacher, one already knows this. And so one has to be very careful to seek a lineage that does not distort the message of oneness in the Upanishad. And the second qualification of the teacher here is Brahmanistha. Brahmanistha means the one who doesn't have a lot of things going on. The guru is not following the stock market and the Upanishad at the same time. Buy, sell, do this, do that. Oh, by the way, Tattvamasi. That is not what is happening. The guru is immersed in this vidya. But that's very difficult to ask and to tell. Only one Brahmanistha can tell if another person is a Brahmanistha or not. And so therefore we stick with the first definition, Shrotriya. And then here, some homework is needed. Just like when you want to listen to something, and if you are having trouble hearing, what to do first? Oh, that's simple, I increase the volume. Okay, you increase the volume and you still cannot hear. Then what do? You clean out the ear. So this is the proverbial cleaning out of the antahkarana for the Sravanam to take place. A few things we can look at. Some we have already looked at. Viveka, Vairagya we have seen. Then there should be mumuksha, moktum ichha, the desire to be free must be there. And the Mundaka Upanishad says the desire to be free must be very, 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 very strong. Tivra mumuksha. Very, very strong. What does it look like? It looks like, it feels like your head is on fire. Your head is on fire. And when your hair and head is ablaze, and then you look, you're panicking, and then thankfully you look, and then you find in a distance a pond. You just run to the pond. At that time, you don't look to the left, you don't look to the right. And you don't think, oh, there is a Starbucks on the way. Let me stop and get some coffee. After I douse my head with some water, I can enjoy the coffee. Nobody thinks that. There can be a Starbucks, there can be so many things. There can be your favorite restaurant, there can be your friend's house. None of that is seen. You rush and make a beeline. You don't stop until you reach the pond and immerse your head. And this is what the qualification is. This is what the qualification is for this Shravanam to succeed. Listening to the Upanishad without the desire is not going to help. The desire is something that can, just like the fire, it is stoked and cultivated. And when it is a conflagration, then the teaching is assimilated effortlessly, absolutely without effort. And so this is, in the Mundaka Upanishad, there is a test. Only in the ancient times, only those were allowed to study who could complete the test. First, you shave off the hair. Oh, that's easy. Okay, that's not all. Next, you have a metal container, a metal basket full of, live coals. And you put it on the newly shorn head. Ow, okay. And then what? Then you make 3 rounds of the ashram, 3 full rounds of the ashram. And then with the same thing on the head, you're not allowed to put it down. Then you put it down in front of the Guru and then ask for knowledge. This is called Shirovrata. So Shirovrata means a tapas with regard to one's head, so that the thinking will be straight. And this, this exemplifies Tivra mumuksha, a very strong desire for the knowledge. You accomplish this test and then you sit and then you are qualified to study the Mundaka Upanishad. Thankfully, the Brhadaranyaka Upanishad doesn't have any kind of test. Otherwise, there would be nobody online. Okay? Yeah, so thankfully we can study this straight away. But this is what is mumuksha. Mumuksha means the strong desire to be free of the burden of one's notions, thinking that one is small, insignificant, incomplete, and inconsequential. All that, freedom from that. So viveka, vairagya, mumukshutvam. Then you also bring in to the Sravana, to hone in the hearing and the listening. You bring in what is called the 6-pack, a kind of a 6 qualifications. Shamadhi shatka sampattihi, 6-fold values and attitudes to the knowledge is brought together. The first one we will discuss is Dhamma, Bahyendra Nigraha. Dhamma means the ability to compose your organs of actions. Suddenly the anger comes, you feel like hitting somebody. You don't do that. You smile instead. You have a discipline with regard to the organs of action. And please let us not forget that the organs of action include speech. Right there we have to have vak tapas. Can't just say whatever you want and then you spend a whole lifetime regretting what you said. So this is Dhamma. Dhamma, once it's gained, then one wonders what happens to all those feelings whose outlet was stopped by this discipline. It will be cooking inside. That inner resolution is called Shama. Antarendra Nigraha Shamaha. A calm and composed mind. How to have a calm and composed mind? There are so many things are there. Do yoga, do pranayama, write it out. Keep a journal. Keep an anger journal. Keep a sorrow journal, and that gives a kind of a witnessing. It gives the ability to witness and not get embroiled in this. Even therapy is a sadhana towards shama, towards gaining shama, psychotherapy, very useful. And then, so you have shama, and you have dhamma, and then you have what is called uparama or uparati. What is that? Letting go of the small stuff. What is the small stuff? Anything that bothers you is small. Because you are Brahman, which is limitlessly big. So by contrast, anything that bothers you, anything that afflicts you is small. And you let go of that. And then, okay, now I can let go of the small stuff. What do I do? Now set your sights on the big stuff and let go of that also. Oh, Shama, Dhamma, Uparati, then Shraddha. Shraddha means a receptivity that is enveloped by devotion and reverence to the Shastra, the teaching, to the Guru. Because the Guru is amplifying the Shastra, the Guru is the mouthpiece of the Shastra. And so therefore, with reference to the words of the Guru and with reference to the Shastra, there is an open-mindedness and an absence of resistance. This is extremely important. In other words, Shraddha is the willingness to trust again after having a life of total disappointment due to the repeated dalliance with the finite and the consequent feeling of betrayal, because this dalliance with the finite never ever in any situation has given me the infinite. And because I didn't know, I just kept on going for the finite, hoping the infinite would come. And after one is an adult and one's whole life one has done this wrong sadhana, missing the sadhya all the time, due to wrong sadhana. Then what happens? Then, there is the heart is calloused, the heart is hardened. How can it not be? Everyone that I have trusted has let me down. That's what the jiva thinks. Everything that I have liked has either got destroyed or stolen or taken away. And whatever else I have liked or enjoyed, either I have changed and I don't enjoy it anymore, or if I have not changed and I still enjoy it, it is not available. And it still doesn't satisfy in the same way as it did 5 years ago. I appear to have outgrown it, but then I still have the craving for something that I do not know. This is what comes in the way of Shraddha, trust. Shraddha is not a blind belief. You are the whole. Oh, Guru, thank you, yes. Oh, you understood that already? No. You have understood it, that is enough. I believe you. This is not how it works. This is an equation. It's an equation of the you that is fraught with so many limitations, or so you perceive. And then the Jagat Karanam Brahma, that infallible Brahman, the cause of the universe, limitlessly big. So the one that is limited and finite, considers oneself to be limited and finite, is equated with that which is infallible and limitlessly big. It's an equation. Oh, but they have nothing in common. That's what the equation looks like. Look at Einstein's famous equation, E is equal to mc square. What is, on this side you have one alphabet, on the other side you have two alphabets and a number. What do they have in common? On the apparent level, nothing. But when you resolve each side, then you see that they are one. And for that, in order to have that, then what one has to do is to get to the place of this reverential receptivity, a trust pending understanding. Where is the trust directed? That's the next question. The trust has to be directed at the Shastra and the Guru combined, because the Shastra is not separate from the Guru. The Guru wields the Shastra, and more we'll see about this in the next session in more detail. The Guru wields the Shastra. That is why it becomes very important. Because, as I said, if you read the Upanishad, what happens? Nothing happens. And so therefore, the trust is directed at the Guru and the Shastra. And here is where there is a lot of difficulty. Because what is Guru? A person. And then, like me, the Guru eats. Like me, the Guru sleeps. Like me, the Guru is wandering around. And then why should I trust this Guru? How to trust this Guru? And then you see, because of the unresolved issues, because of lack of Shama, what happens is that the Guru becomes a sitting duck for mother transference, father issue transference, all kinds of projections. And that's why the Gurus come in all shapes and sizes, with and without beards. Okay, so you can choose. Just like you have Ishta Devata, a Bhagavan in some form that is palatable to you and that you can love and you can have reverence for. Similarly, the Guru comes in various shapes and sizes. So generally speaking, if you have mother issues, of course there are so many Gurus in men's bodies. If you have father issues, seek a person in a woman's body. And then what? What if I have mother issues and father issues both? Aha, there also upayaha asti. There is a remedy for that as well. What is that? Enter Mahavishnu in the avatara called Hayagriva, the head of a horse and the body of a human being. Hayagriva taught Agastya and Lopamudra. He taught, he taught the secrets of the Shakta worship, Bhagavati worship, he taught. And there is a long story why he was with the head of the horse. But for us it is suffice to say that all those followers of Agastya can proudly say we got the knowledge from the horse's mouth. Maybe that's why he was in the head of the horse. So animals become the teachers again in another portion of the Chandogya Upanishad. Satyakama goes to the teacher, but the teacher gives him a task. He gives him one cow and says, go and let them multiply, and when they are 400, bring them back to me. And Satyakama is crestfallen because he wants the knowledge badly. But then he is given one cow, and then that has to give a baby, and then that has to give a baby. Like this, it has to become 400. And then a lion takes pity on him. The lion is lying there on its side and says, let us help each other. I will teach you a little bit of Brahman, but then you have to do something for me. What? Remove the thorn from my foot first. I'm not lying here just for fun. I can't get up. And bravely Satyakama extricates the thorn from the foot, and then gets the knowledge, little bit of knowledge from the lion. And then he meets a blue heron choking over a fish bone. That's how, dear friends, the Heimlich maneuver was born. And actually, it should be renamed Satyakama's maneuver, because he was able to jostle the fishbone out of the blue heron, and the heron also teaches him about Brahman. The Upanishad is rife with such stories. Why? Just because, so that we can see that this surrender is very, very important. This ability to trust is very, very important. Equipped with which Shraddha, one can really gain the knowledge. Sravanam alone is enough. More we'll see in the next session. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.